record? Am I recording? I guess I am. Anne wants to print a frame, a photo she recently took at the beach. She plans to print it to have dimensions 10 by 8. So the photo is 10 and 10 by 8 right here. She also plans to put a border, this is the border, around it, and it's going to be X distance in all directions. So the total area of the photo and border in square inches is modeled by this. And that makes sense because you got 10 and you're adding an X distance this way and an X distance that way. So that's 10 plus 2X. Same thing for 8. You're adding X this way and X this way. So it's 8 plus 2X. X is the width of the border in inches. This is because they used the box method and they multiplied it in. Okay. But the good thing is they're giving you this information. So what does the quantity 4x squared plus 36x represent? Well, what was the original area of the photo? It was a 10 by 8, correct? So what's 10 times 8? 80. So 80 is the area of the photo. So that means the rest of this expression is the area of the border. 80 is the photo, when the 4x squared plus 36x is the additional area that you're adding with the border. So let's find that answer. The area of the photo, the length of the photo and border, the area of the border in square inches. That's it. This equation represents the area of both of them. 80 is the photo, so the rest of it, the rest of the two terms have to be the area of the border. Don't let me be wrong. All right, to supplement her income, McCormick grows lucky bamboo in her backyard garden and sells ceramic pots of bamboo to customers online. Okay. She's found that when she decreases the price per pot, decreases means lowers. Oops, sorry. I was doing the auto read right here. The number of pots she sells each month increases. So she drops the price, she sells more. Monthly revenue is modeled by this. So when she plugs in P, the price, she gets the money that she pays for each part. What is it? Her monthly revenue can be modeled by this expression. Okay. So this function, what it does is you plug in the price and it tells you how much she's going to make. What does the quantity 96 minus 4P represent in the expression? If P is the price per pot, to get the total money that she's making, okay, I'm starting to write somewhere as soon as I find my pen. All right, she has P is the price per photo, price per pot. And in order to find out how much she has to make, she has to multiply it by the number of pots that she sells. Clear? So if P is this one, then 96 minus 4P has to be this one. I hope that kind of makes sense a little bit. You have to think about what is it that you're multiplying to get that product. So let's find that choice. Number of pots sold. Number of pots Ms. McCormick sells each month if she charges P dollars per pot. That's the one. Oh yeah, I'm at 36 now. All right, during each badminton, Josh swings his racket and hits the birdie high up in the air. I like badminton. I was actually good at it in high school. Probably one of the only ones I was good at. Birdie's height above the ground in meters can be modeled by this. So T is time. And this whole thing gives us the height. The height is 1.4 plus 6t minus 4.9t squared. So if we plug in the time, we get the height of the birdie. What's the number 1.4 represent in the expression? So for this is projectile motion. And when you do your homework, your other assignments, you will find that projectile motion kind of goes like this. The height is equal to negative 16t squared, which is the gravity coefficient, plus the initial velocity times time, plus the initial height. So this is initial height. The constant is the initial height, and the coefficient in front of this linear term is the velocity, the constant velocity that it's moving at. So if I reorganize this, and then you say, but Ms. Medina, that says negative 16, and this one says negative 4.9. All right, so one of them is with the metric system, and the other one is not with the metric system. Are we clear? So that's why the numbers are different, but it's still the same thing, just converted to different units. That means that this is the initial velocity, and this is the initial height. And they're asking us about the 1.4. So the 1.4 is the initial height. The constant will always be the initial height in these problems. So now let's find the right answer. Right here, the height in meters of the birdie when Josh hits it. Right? Initial height in meters when it got hit initially. So this one has to be it. It's not the highest point. It's not time, so it's not those two. 48. 8 problems, 48. All right, the Rock Rollers released their first album, Metamorphic, when they were still mostly unknown, and the value of the album initially declined. As the band became more famous, the album became more popular and it started to increase. The value of the album can be modeled by this expression. T is time. Okay. What does the number 25 represent in the expression? So since the constant, and this is usually the initial value, wouldn't this be the initial value of the album? The constant is usually is the initial value. So the album's value when it was first released. See, and once you learn those tricks, that the constant in standard form is the initial value, it becomes a lot easier to put it, apply it to real life phenomena, I guess, if I want to be saying it fancy. Okay, games and mods. Large electronic company builds and sells gaming computers. The research shows customers pay more per computer when the company builds fewer computers, okay? If the company builds Q computers to sell, it charges 800 minus 5Q for each computer. So that means the revenue, or how much money they make, is going to be Q, number of computers, times 800 minus 5Q, and this is the price per computer. So when you multiply, computers will cancel and you'll be left with price, which is money. Each computer requires 300 in materials to build, and Mods has invested $8,000 in new equipment. This means the company's cost will be 300Q plus 8,000. Okay, so this is revenue. This is how much money they're making, money made. And this is costs. Okay. The good thing about these problems is that they're actually giving you the expressions and they're not actually expecting you to write them. The focus here is you interpreting what the expressions mean. So this has to do with profit, right? Revenue minus the cost equals the profit. How much money you made minus how much money you spent will give you the profit. So it's this concept. And they're saying that's the, so it's like doing all the work for us, right? So that makes sense. That's why they have Q, this part right here, which is the revenue, come first. Q 800 minus 5Q minus the cost, which is this one, 300Q plus 8,000. And that's going to be equal to the profit. Right? Interpreting. Interpreting is understanding these weird random numbers and what they're representing. What are the numbers 20 and, oh, there's more to the question. This can be simplified to negative 5Q squared. They do this by multiplying. We did this a few days ago. Okay. I can't do it now because I'm recording. But don't let me, once I finish this video, okay, I'll do it. Or maybe I can pause, hold on, just to continue. All right, so how did they go from this one to that one? They multiplied, right? And then they combined like terms, and that's how they ended up with this. And then they did what we still haven't learned, factoring, so they can come up with this one. So in comparing, this one is standard form, and this one is factored form. Of course, there's a big hint because it says factored form right here. And so what does 20 and 80 represent? In factored form, these represent the zeros. What are other names for zeros? Solutions, roots, the values, solutions, that means the values of Q. Okay? The solutions, what is Q that will help us solve this problem? And so they can either build 20 computers or 80 computers. To exactly break even, yes. Crossing the x-axis is the break-even point. That's when you neither make profit nor lose money in your production. So the solutions are a break-even point when we're talking about money. No, it's not minimum or maximum because this is not the vertex. This is where we're crossing the x-axis. So it has to be this one. Crossing the x-axis is when you break even. So it looks like they're reducing the 40 minus 2x has to be the glass pane right here. You're subtracting this one and this one. 28 minus 2x is the glass pane over here, because we're subtracting the x's. So what do they want? It's either the height or the base or the length times the width. Are we clear? And either the length or the width can be a height. But it is definitely not the area because it's only one of the dimensions. It's not a perimeter. It's this one, the height of the window inside the frame. That's why they're subtracting the border. The whole thing is 40 minus the border. You get only the glass pane. Man, it's not hard. It's not easy, I mean, so we'll discuss this more. Rather longer video than normal.